Good afternoon. Hello, my name is Kevin Devecioglu. I'm the Managing Director of Beamster International. Today, we'll be talking about performance management. And I have my colleagues with me online today, and we'll be talking about how one can work remotely at the same time and how you can manage your business performance as well as individual performance at your companies. So let me introduce my team members, first of all, our panel today that we put together for you. I have my colleague, Sam Watt. He's our pre-sales software engineer from our engineering team. And he'll be talking about how you can use QDMS software to manage performance of your business and manage performance of your individuals. Also, in our panel, I have my colleague, Alex Quartero from Emras Consulting. Alex will be talking about fundamentals of performance management from the quality and compliance point of view. And we also have our product manager, Furkan Bas, with us. So together, we'll be also addressing your questions at the end of our webinar session. So typically, we always start our weekly executive webinar sessions with our company introductions, but we are making a change for this week. So today, we'd like to jump into the subject, how you can actually set your goals, how you can actually model your business processes, how you can set your goals, and how you can monitor it, and how you can actually review your performance, as to your business performance as well as your individual performance. Now, what I like to do is I like to invite Sam Watt to the conversation. Sam has an agenda, and he'll be talking about intelligent business process modeling, where you can actually design it digitally on QDMS, and how you can set your corporate performance, how you can manage it, how you can put together your balanced scorecard. Balanced scorecard is a managerial tool that shows your company's performance, and we'll show you how you can actually generate it digitally based on your actual performance. And then he'll be talking about individual performance management, reports and dashboards available for KPI tracking, monitoring, and reports. So we'll talk more about QDMS, but some side notes. QDMS is a quality, risk, audit, compliance, and performance management software. It also has intelligent business process capabilities, especially nowadays in the face of COVID-19. That's our common challenge right now, that we need to work remotely, we need to work from home, or we go to office for certain days for a limited time. So QDMS is designed to help you manage your company's performance as well as quality management system digitally. Before further ado, I'd like to invite Sam, and I'll let him take it from here. Sam, I'll stop sharing so you can continue sharing your script.
It's true, but it's an idea and it's a concept.
Thank you.
It's something that doesn't necessarily change the way we feel, but
okay. Hello, can you hear me? And can you see my screen?
Correct. So before you get started, maybe I can just share some side notes. So QDMS is an independent software that we have been developing since 1998. So it actually runs standalone. So today we are making a change. We'll also show it with various ERP systems. So we took Sage Intacct as a start. So Sam will be demonstrating QDMS within Sage Intacct ERP system. And then in the second half, he'll show QDMS within Acumatica ERP system screens. We also have the option of running QDMS as an independent solution. And these are just for you to give you an idea as to capabilities of QDMS. Sam, please continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for joining today's webinar. This is Sam. And in the first half, I will show you QDMS, including the intelligent business process modeling modules, the performance management, and also the balanced scorecard on the same page of Sage Intacct. And this is my Sage Intacct account. And after login, I can run QDMS on the same screen of Sage Intacct. So on the top, you can go to different modules of Sage Intacct and manage different modules of Sage Intacct. And also on the same page, you can manage or you can connect to QDMS. And first of all, I want to show you is the process intelligent process modeling modules. So in QDMS, you can define or create different model for in the system. So it can be by department, it can be by different company or by branch, by locations. So you can pick and choose which model you want to see in QDMS. And also you can change the date and go to the process modeling module. And right here, you can see we have different process we have designed in the system. So for example, for managing audit, so what you want to see, and you can define the flow for these operations. And this is one of the examples that we put together in the system is when we are going to have an audit. So what kind of flow that we have to follow in our company or for different departments. So at the very beginning, in the beginning, then of course we can start our audit plan and publish it. And there, you can see in this flow, there are different shape, and different shape has its own meaning. Like to the circle, which means the flow start, and when and you can see the diamond shape, it is an action, and to the square, it is decision, for example. So you can define all of those based upon the actual operations of your company. For this one, it is a type of a process. And also for this circle one, it is a type of a start or the flow start. As you can see here, we define the flow for the audit operation as we publish the audit plan, and then the auditor will check the information. After that, we have to perform the audit, for example, auditing our auditee, like the employee in different location. And then we will send this to the audit commission, and they will see if we are going to close it and document and having our documentation, or we will reject it and it's go back to the perform process, which means we have to perform the audit again. And there is another example here, as you can see on your screen, is the suggestion management. So let's say that people, they have a suggestion so that we can design our flow here as well. So by using QDMS, you can define what's happened when someone have a certain suggestion to the company, and what is the flow, how we should follow. So those can be defined here, and it can be a reference for the responsible person. For example, the approver, for example, to the creator. So those have to follow this flow that we have defined in QDMS. So by using this intelligent process modeling module, you can define the flow for all the operations of your company. And people, the users, have to follow what we have set up in the system, and it can be a reference and also set it in the policy of your company in order to comply with certain standards. For example, ISO, SQF, or any other standard in your industry. And next, I want to show you is the measure module, as known as the corporate performance management module. In this module, we can create different aspects or factors that we want to measure. For example, the cost of quality. So we have the appraisal, the external failure, internal failure, and prevention. So we can open this up in QDMS, and it will show you all the aspects or dimensions that we set up in the system. So what you will see is the actual data or the actual value of this that we have in regarding this aspect. So for the cost of quality appraisal, so this is our actual value. You can move your cursor on the chart, and it will show you the actual value that we have and also the target value that we set up in the system. The target value is the goal that you want to achieve. And you can see the difference and also the performance of your company. the data will be shown in a bar chart and also in the table. In addition, you can see how we are doing, that we can set up different range and also an icon associated with different standard that we set up in the system. Like you can see a smiley face, which means we are doing well and we are above this target that we set up. And when it is, we can set up also a range, and it will be shown in moderate icon, like a normal face. If our actual value is between the target that we set up, in this example will be 7,500 and 5,625. If our actual value is between these two values, then we will have we will mark this as a moderate. If it is lower than 5,625, then we will record it as bad in performance. And it might so we might need some action in order to cope with this poor performance in our company. So we can have our target set up based upon our actual operations of the company, so that for different aspects we can see different target or different value or standard that we set up. So this is the measurement module, measure module, and you can change the data to be shown as monthly, yearly, quarterly, and so on. Also, you can have an overview of all of the performance in this dimension. So you can see for different months how we are doing. You can see the period as PRD in the system and year to date. So you can see the performance of our company in this specific dimension, so that you can carry out certain action in order to improve the performance or manage the performance of different departments. And at last, we come to the scorecard, balanced scorecard. So by using QDMS, so we will show the performance of your company in a chart and also in a list. And in this balanced scorecard, you can see how we are doing in different dimensions. And now QDMS is bringing us to a scorecard. And what you will see is also the status that we set up. And you will see the smiley face again. And it is one of the status that we set up. If they're performing well, then we will have a green smiley face. If not, we will have a normal yellow face. And if it is below the standard, then you will see a red sad face. And in QDMS, you can see this in the scorecard, like the dimension, like the different aspect, and also how what is the target and the actual value that we set up. So you can see in this scorecard, you can have an overview of how we are doing in our company. For example, to the COQ, cost of quality appraisal. It is a little below than the target that we set up, so that we can carry out certain action planning in order to cope with this and also cope with this situation and see how we can improve our performance. Also, you can change the view in this scorecard, like you can have a general view, and in the list, you will see in this period how we are doing, and year to date how we are doing. So as you can see, like here, for the production inventory value, for this period, like this month, we are doing well. We are above the target. But as for year to date, it's still below the target. What this means is we are getting improvement in this aspect, but we still have to work on it or keep our well performance in the rest of the years or in the upcoming. So it gives you an idea how we are doing and what should we do by reviewing this balanced scorecard. And also we can keep changing our view and create our report in order to share with any responsible parties. For example, how we are doing as the scorecard report and also the measure record report. So those can be exported from QDMS as an Excel or PDF file, and you can share with any responsible parties. So this is how we can manage digitally regarding the performance management. So now I want to show you it's also QDMS in Acumatica, which allows you to plan the detail of your action in order to improve the performance of your company. And on your screen, this is Acumatica homepage. And QDMS, again, is integrated with other ERP systems. And also it can be used as a standalone application. So in Acumatica, we can run QDMS on the same screen, as you can see on our right here. So this is the homepage of QDMS. Right after you log in, so you can find all the pending tasks and also the request for approval on this home screen, and you can get a quick connection to and proceed with this request. And QDMS is a permission-based system, which means not everyone can see everything. For example, the one that you have that you have seen previously on the Sage Intake page. So like different module, based upon the permission that is granted to you to your account based on your role, position, profession, departmental group, you will see what you are supposed to do. And also on this page, for example, we have different modules in QDMS. So you will see what you're supposed to do based upon the permission is granted to your account. And right here, I want to share with you is the action management module. So considering like based upon this balanced scorecard, we need certain action in order to improve the performance of for the department, so that we can create our action planning here on this page and assign this to the responsible department. So considering all the planning in QDMS, it is the goal that we want to achieve. For example, we want to have a, let's say, facility management, or we want to improve our performance in, let's say, audit, so that we can create our audit planning here by defining the action source and also the name. And after that, we can create our action items in this planning. The action items is the objectives that help us to achieve our goal. For example, in this record, we want to have a better facility management performance. We want to make sure nothing will pass its due date and make sure we follow all the policy of the standard that we are complying with. So let's say we have to control the facility. We have to rinse the floor, soap it, sanitize it, and also sanitize the machine. So we can define different action items in order to achieve our goal, which is facility management in this example. And by using this module, you can define what we have to do as a definition and also the start date and end date. In QDMS, we can set up the date that we have to escalate this action to the supervisor or manager of the responsible person. For example, like 3 days. If it's passed 3 days after the due date and it's still not be performed, what I mean is this action, then we will escalate it to the responsible person manager or the supervisor. In addition, you can see right here, we can define who should be the performer, like who should be respond and perform this action that we have defined in QDMS. And also if there's any budget, we can define it right here and manage it in different currency. Furthermore, if this action is a periodic action, like we have to do it every 3 months, or every 60 days. Then we can define it here, and QDMS will send a notification to the responsible person periodically based upon the date that we set up as the start date in the very beginning. And every 60 days, QDMS will send you a notification in QDMS and also in your email inbox. And while you're creating your action item, you can attach any document from your local drive. You can browse your local drive and attach it right here. For example, we have a new policy and we want to upload it here and connect it along with this record. So now you will see the document is attached, and QDMS support different file formats that you upload to the system, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, image, video, or audio. So once it is ready, then we can save this, and it will be saved in QDMS and send a notification to the action performer. And as for the action performer, how they can update the record, as I mentioned, they can get a quick connection to the requests or the tasks that are assigned to these users. And I can see the action that I have to perform, like under my responsibility. And I can get a quick connection to this action. For example, this is the one as purchasing. And I can have a quick connection to it. And on the top, we can update the status as performed, or we can request for an extension of the due date. Considering like this action has been performed, then we can update the status of this record and saying what you have done here in this open text field and save this. This record will be marked as performed in the system. And in action management module, or in every modules in QDMS, you can see the reporting tool, which allows you to create the ready-made reports. For instance, you can see the action detail reports, and you can put your condition to this report, like the action source or the performer. Like I want to see what is the action is assigned and what is the status that is assigned to me, to my account. And then I can open the list and pick and choose my name. So just a side note is we can integrate this information to any ERP system like Sage Intacct or Acumatica, so that you don't have, it's helped you to prevent any double entry, for example, your employee information in the system. So now I have the list, and you're more than welcome to use the search bars provided on the top and use the search features and get a quick connection to what you want to see. And now we are going to set up our report, and you will see all the action that is assigned to me and also the status of the actions. And you can export this report as Excel or PDF for sharing with any responsible parties. Also in QDMS, you can see the management review modules. It shows you all the action or activities that we assigned it to the users in different modules. So first of all, you can see all the delayed activities, which means all the activities is past its due date. So we can use the filter and see what action that we create and how many days is past its due date. QDMS is now generating the report, and what you will see in this module, like action management module, how many tasks that we have created, and it is marked as delayed, and you will also see how many days is past its due date in this report. So by using this report, you can have an overview like how they are doing or how the users they are doing in different modules. If they're perform the action on time, or is there any difficulties, how they're doing with the system regarding those tasks that are scheduled to those users. So right here in this module, you can see these are all the tasks that we created. And you can see the due date, how many days is past its due date. Like for the first one, it's past 531 days. And it is my demo environment so that the days it might be a little it's not that it's past more than a year, but again, it is my demo environment and some of the tasks that we didn't update so that you can see this number, a greater number. But typically you will see like how many days as like 5 days so that you can carry out certain action in order to cope with this issue. Like you can contact the responsible person, like how are you doing? Why you didn't perform this task that is assigned to you? Do you have any difficulties in order in terms of connecting to QDMS, for example? So you can have a follow-up and make sure all the tasks is performed on time and manage the performance of the users in your company. And also you can see all the planned activities, like what is planned and is not past its due date. So you can use up these planned activities. And also you can have a timetable and show you all the tasks, for example, like to the users. And again, I will choose myself. And then we can make a search. You will see what kind of task that is assigned to me, and they're in different status. Like in green, which means it is assigned to this user, but it's not performed and not passing the due date yet. And to the one that is in red color, which means it passes due date, and we require immediate action by these users. And if they're in blue color, which means it has been done within the due date. So it gives you an idea in the calendar view, and also how the task that is assigned to these users or to this user or department And at last, I want to show you is the dashboard that we have in QDMS. So as you can see here, we can have our dashboard in QDMS, and we can put together the real-time data on the in the widget of the dashboard. So your real-time data will be shown in a scorecard, in a list, in a table, in a pie chart, or in a bar chart. So this dashboard helps you to keep tracking the performance and also KPI of your company. So now QDMS is getting us to the dashboard. And what you will see is we put together all the data in a pie chart and also in a line chart. So you can see how it is going. And also we can pick and choose different category. In terms of the risk level, you can see how many or the number of different status and how the trend is going, for this particular risk or for this record in QDMS. And to the dashboard, you can have your own design dashboard, which means you can resize or move around the widget in your dashboard, and you can have your own perfect view that you want to have in the dashboard of QDMS. And also you can export this dashboard as Excel or PDF for sharing with any responsible parties. The typical example is having your annual report to your, let's say, supervisor or manager. Then you can export your report from QDMS and send this or share with the high management of your company. It's come to the end of my demonstration. Thank you very much.
Sam, thank you very much for the demonstration. Much appreciated. Let me take over the screen and then we'll continue our process. So as you saw during the demonstration of Sam, digitally you can define your performance criteria and you can actually perform it and you can record it actually. So that is an important fact that right now we can remotely and digitally assign tasks, and we can also record and capture the performance in the system, and we can have reports and dashboards to follow up and monitor the performance of our company as well as individuals. One of the questions I got in the chat box was about the instructions of the employees, how they are following the steps. So there are two ways to address that. When you assign a task to an employee, for example, one of your team members, you can attach instructions as to follow how the employee is going to be performing the task. That is one approach. Another approach is using checklists. So we'll be talking about next week with another executive webinar of ours called Workflow Management. So with the Workflow Management, you can actually provide instructions to the employee. That's one thing. In addition, you can also provide checklists. If you are, let's say, doing a certain task, if you are doing maintenance, if you are doing audit, for example, you need to follow certain steps. So each step is actually a part of the checklist. So every time you follow it, you complete it, you actually tick and you complete that part of the task. That is another way of actually to record it digitally. Let's keep in mind that all the performance criteria that you put has certain deadline. So if you give me 3 days to complete a task, and if I finish it earlier, it'll be recorded. If I finish it later, it'll be recorded. If I need additional days, I can request it from you, since you are my manager, for example. So all these can be managed remotely and digitally. So you can have the digital records as to how many tasks you assign an employee, how that employee actually performed, completed earlier, later, on time, or requested additional time, for example. You can have all these records digitally. That will be basically helping you have objective performance reviews, and it will be also the way to take actions as for continuous improvement. Speaking of continuous improvement, I'd like to invite Alex Kvarterov as our next presenter. Alex is a certified ISO auditor, so he has a lot of he spent a lot of time, and he has a lot of experience for performance management and quality management and compliance management. So that is why he's actually part of our panel to share his insights. We'd like to hear from Alex about fundamentals of performance management in the scope of ISO as well as quality management. And then after Alex, I'll be talking more about QDMS and also some other activities that you can do digitally for performance management. Alex, if you are ready, we can get started. Let's see if Alex is unmuted. Let me see if his microphone is available.
Okay.
Okay.
I think
now, I can hear you now. Okay, perfect.
Very good. Very good. Okay.
Thank you, Alex.
Well, thank you very much, Kevin, for inviting me for today's webinar. And I'll very briefly introduce the concept of performance management. This could be either also encompass quality management, or actually it's a business management process. And especially in today's COVID environment, where part of your staff could be working on site, part of the staff could be working remotely. This creates a much more complex environment to deal with. So hopefully I can show you how following a process, a performance management process can simplify this whole situation. So I will really base my discussion on ISO, quality management principles. There are many ISOs. ISO 9001 happens to be kind of the overall ISO that encompasses most manufacturing organizations. But again, what I'll be talking about are the principles. So you can be ISO compliant, but not necessarily ISO certified. So ISO compliant means that you follow the ISO principles, but you don't really go ahead and apply for the formal certification. So there are 7 quality management principles that ISO defines, and I'll quickly go over all of them. So first of all is really customer focus. The object obviously is to keep your customer happy. And so what does it mean? Well, it means that you will deliver a quality product on time. So it's probably one of the most important aspects of a quality management system. Leadership. Leadership is your internal management structure, and they have to be responsible to manage the performance management or your business management, and they have to be involved and support the principles that the organization has adopted. And that has to really flow down throughout the whole organization. So the people have to be engaged. That means that they have to understand what the goals are of the quality management system and play a role, meaning that they would contribute to improving the whole process, since this has to flow down to the lowest level of the employees, but those are very valuable in making suggestions or recommendations on how to improve the process. And speaking of process, a good performance management system is based on processes, and those processes have to be integrated internally, so that becomes more efficient. And this way, you would also have a better control of what is going on. Then the other aspect is continuous improvement. Nobody's perfect. You have to always look for ways to improve your processes, your performance. And that is really based on data that you collect as part of your performance management. So this is the next principle, is evidence-based decision-making. So this is, again, data that you've collected as part of your processes. And then you don't take guesses as to what to improve, but you take you evaluate the actual data, and then based on that, you decide on what can be improved and how it can be improved. And the last principle is relationship management. And what it means is that management has to be involved in all aspects of the business, not just running the business itself, but to be involved with all of the outside forces that impact the business, the regulatory organizations that you have to satisfy. So this is a pretty encompassing task. And another very important part of relationship management is to deal with your supply chain. Suppliers provide you the products that is integrated into your products. And if the supplier does not provide quality products, then you won't be able to deliver a quality product to your customers. So supply chain management is a very important aspect of the overall business management. So next slide, please. So the ISO, let's say, principles is based on the quality management system, which is really has been defined as the plan, do, check, act cycle, which was established by a quality guru, Deming. And I think it's a very simple diagram which shows how the whole quality management system should be operating. So on the right side of the screen, I have identified the ISO clauses, and The first three clauses are really like an introduction, definition, and so on, so they don't contain any requirements. So the requirements really start with clause 4, so they go from 4 to 10. And the clause numbers on the diagram are identified in parentheses, so that if you look at the left side of the screen where you have your inputs, and this is really based on your inputs are really coming from your organization and its context, what is consists of. Obviously, the customer requirements. So a customer has to specify what they would like to have as a final product or service. And sometimes they do not, they know kind of on a high level what they want, but all the details sometimes are missing. So that's another aspect of the work that involves in discussing with the customer all the details of what they're looking for. And of course, you have a number of interested parties, namely the investors, obviously the customers, an interested party, your regulatory organizations, and so on. So you have to consider all of these, and all of that feeds into the planning stage, which is the clause 6. And then after you plan, then you have to now implement your either develop your product or service, and that includes both the resources that you need. So the resources include your manpower, equipment, and your infrastructure, as well as the operation. So what does it take to develop or build, design, and build your product or service, which, as you can see, into that feeds the supply chain, because this is where all of your material coming in is where it's utilized. Then going over to number 9, performance evaluation. This is where now you build your product or service, and now you evaluate it. It doesn't meet the requirements, and now here, this is where you take some measurements as to how well it meets its required performance. So here, both you look at your internal data that you look at when you're doing your performance evaluation, and also you obviously get customer feedback. Hopefully, customer feedback would be mostly positive, but that doesn't always happen, unfortunately. So you'll have some negative feedback, but that has to be considered in your performance evaluation. Then you evaluate. This is what I discussed earlier. You look at your data that you have collected, and now you look at your improvement. Can you improve your product, your service, or even your internal processes? And then you go back, and then you replan, and then you basically stay continuously in that circle, and you can have multiple parallel circles going on, looking at different areas of your product. All right, next slide, please. So what are some of the challenges in managing any performance management system? Well, first of all, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of documents and records that you have to deal with. And storing this documentation can be an issue that you have to address, because you could store that information anywhere from in the form of hard copies in file cabinets. That's been obviously the traditional way, but now people are getting away from that, because obviously it takes space and the information is not really readily available. So now all of the data could be stored digitally, but again, the information can be stored, can be spread out amongst different computers, departments, so all the data may not be available to you um, when you need it, or you may have to go and dig up different computers or departments to find the data that you're looking for. Also, you have an issue of configuration control of documents, namely, documents always change. You have to look at you have to have a process of making changes, and you have to have a reason to make a change. So you have to have a whole way of keeping track of the changes, who approves the changes, and also very important is to have traceability of the changes to a document, and also make sure that the people that or the employees that are using a particular document, that they're using the latest revision of the document and not some older version. Another issue is, obviously you have to do failure root cause analysis, and that analysis again generates a lot of data, and you get results which hopefully can help you make decisions to improve your process or product. But again, all of that information has to be recorded somewhere, and it has to be made readily accessible. If stored somewhere in a file cabinet that nobody can find, then obviously it's really of no use to anybody. And also part of the good business management process has to have internal audits. Now, whether you are ISO certified or not, well, if you are ISO certified, then internal audits is a requirement. But if you're not, it's still, I think, a good practice to have internal audits at some interval of time. And again, those are the records or basically the information that you collect from the audits should be used to make improvements, internal improvements. And again, that information has to be made readily available. Now, also, other than dealing with documents and records, you also have to control your internal processes. And one aspect of controlling a process is plan activities and set up a schedule with the individuals that are getting the assignment to work on a certain part of a process. Now, it's very important that the individual understands, gets the plan and schedule, and that is being tracked, because it's no use to have a plan if nobody really looks at it. So you have to have a mechanism to monitor the progress that your personnel are making. And the important thing is that, are they meeting deadlines? So it's really very important to stay on top of it, because if they really are late and have not worked on a particular assignment they were supposed to, then obviously if you only know about it when they were supposed to complete it, then the whole project is going to slip, and you want to avoid that. So you have to have a mechanism to continuously monitor the progress being made. And obviously, if there are missed targets, well, the supervisors or management has to know about it, because yes, there's always something can happen. There are other priorities that can take over, but management must be on top of it, and then they can make some decisions on what to do. So it's very important to have control of how your internal processes are meeting your plan. So next slide, please. So obviously now this is all very nice to know those things, but now how do you deal with it? A tool, a software tool, I think is very important to help you in managing all of these issues. And And I think Sam did a great job in describing such a tool, namely QDMS. And I think here I'm sort of kind of summarizing from an business management perspective what that kind of a tool can do for you and how it can make your life a lot easier. So first of all, the main thing I talked about is that if all your information data is scattered throughout your organization, the tool QDMS will provide a central database for storing. There's no need to look for it, search for them, and where could it be, on what computer, where it is, what department. All the information is right there in one central database. And again, it can work on a cloud. I believe the latest is strategy is to push the because of various aspects of internal security. If on a local server, it can be done, and it can also, that information can also be available on a mobile app. So all that, again, information it would be made available to the authorized personnel. And again, there's all sorts of the structure allows you to select, who has access, read-write access privileges, and all of that is established by the administrator. And very important is that if an audit is performed, especially if you're ISO certified, so you need to have an auditor review the information, and for the audit, all of the information that is required for him to perform the audit can be made available through QDMS, and this would allow to conduct a virtual audit so that the auditor could be located remotely, outside the facility, and that would still be considered as a official, ISO audit. And again, I mentioned, but this is very important, and that QDMS would certainly prevent the scattering of all the documents through the organization, and everything that the organization requires to operate will be available all, in one central location. Now, also part of the QDMS capability is that it offers control of the documentation configuration, and it automatically stores the traceability of the changes and all the comments that were made as to why the changes were made. So all of that information is stored as part of the document change history. And again, to maintain the schedule of all the activities, and Sam, I think, showed that the tool, the QDMS tool, can certainly monitor the schedules and identify when certain deadlines have been missed, so that management is really aware of any potential problems that can come up. So that concludes my presentation, and I guess I'll pass it back on to Kevin. So thank you very much for your attention.
Alex, thank you very much for your insight. Much appreciated. So it is good that we cover the fundamental part of performance management from the scope of actually quality management and compliance management, especially the fact that we need to make decisions as for performance and performance review based on evidence. We actually we are able to document the results, performance results, actually digitally with the help of QDMS in this particular case. Much appreciated. So we are coming to the end of our webinar, almost there. What I like to do is I like to share some more information about QDMS and about BIM3 International a little bit. and then we'll come to a Q&A session, and we'll address your questions. And again, we keep our email addresses on the screen. So if you'd like to continue this conversation, if you'd like to send us an email, schedule meetings, we welcome it. You are more than welcome to send us an email, and we'll continue this conversation and talk more in detail. About us, who we are, for those of you actually don't know about BIMSRE International, we are an enterprise software maker since 1998. We are based in New York. We help companies simplify their processes and help companies adopt digital transformation. We are very active in various business communities, manufacturing, finance, quality communities, import-export communities, as well as banking and professional services are some of the industries that we are very close with. Also, for your information, we have an internship program for university students about how to do pre-sales and software engineering in this digital age. As a company, we have global presence. As Sam performed the demonstration, we are very active in various ERP ecosystems. Also, we are ISO 9001 certified and ISO 27001 certified. So we have policies and procedures in place to make sure we always deliver the highest quality of software products. Since 1998, we developed these 4 products. Today, we talk more about QDMS, our quality, risk, compliance, and performance management software. Also, we have EBA for electronic business automation platform. We have BIM as asset and maintenance management, and we have Ensemble as strategy and performance management software. Since we have been active in the market since 1998, we have been actually working many different companies. We have thousands of customers. These numbers show delivered projects. They also know more or less how many customers we have. And we have millions of users for our software products. As for QDMS, we have more than 1,000 customers, and we have more than 1 million professional users, and these numbers are increasing. We have a lot of references, reputable brands. United Nations is one of them. We work with Starbucks. We work with Unilever. We work with Renault-Nissan Alliance. We work with Ford, Hyundai, and many other reputable organizations. So in a nutshell, that's who we are and what we do. So what I like to do is I like to talk about working remotely, how we approach, how we look at it from the scope of digital transformation. So digital transformation is where we are coming from, basically, to work remotely and to manage performance remotely. So what we mean by digital transformation is adapting companies, organizations, strategy, and structure to capture opportunities enabled by technology. That's the easiest way to define digital transformation. There are many different benefits of adapting digital transformation. From the point of performance management, we are able to actually control the processes. We are able to coach our employees. We are able to increase productivity, efficiency, and of course, we can also reduce costs by being more efficient by adopting digital transformation and utilizing tools just like QDMS in this digital age to work remotely. So, of course, COVID-19 changed our lives, also our business lives. So there was the business life before COVID-19, and there is a life before and during COVID-19. So it changes our business life as well. So in this situation, in the face of COVID-19, risk management is very important. It's more important than before as to assessing risk and preparing contingency plans. And it also affects performance management. That's actually where it comes to at the end of the day, because if you are working remotely and if you are not able to see your employees, see them, engage them, and interact them face to face, how you are going to basically assign tasks and monitor performance? That is a challenge. So when we look at the performance management remotely, there are a couple of things that we need to be doing. We need to model our business process, just like Sam showed earlier. You need to design it. You need to make it clear and easy for employees to understand. You need to define risk, some performance requirements, some assignments may be high risk tasks. So you may need to take certain precautions, maybe certain PPE with you or certain specialists with you for you to perform the task. You need to define the task. You need to set performance criteria. You need to assign it to appropriate employees. And also, ongoing performance monitoring is very important to take action before the deadline. And then performance reviews. Typically what we see is quarterly performance reviews, sometimes weekly, depends on the company and the importance of the assignment. And then reporting part is very important, just like Alex mentioned earlier. So we can assign the task, we can perform the task, but we need to also document this process so that we can make managerial decisions based on this evidence, which is available digitally for us as managers. That is very critical. So speaking of using the digital tools, I'd like to talk more about QDMS, and then we'll jump to the Q&A session and we'll address questions coming from your side. I've been receiving some questions from chat box, some of them available in the public chat box, some of them coming to me in the private chat box. All right, so QDMS is a quality risk audit performance and compliance management system. That's an actual management system. It's an integrated management system. We've been developing it since 1998. We have more than 1,000 corporate customers, more than 1 million professional users. That's a very, I will say, mature system. It is solid, it is reliable, and it is scalable. It works on cloud as well as on-premise servers, so we have a lot of options to offer. It has a very modern architecture, and it is ready to talk to any other system that you have in your company. That may be an ERP system, as we showed earlier. We show Sage, Intacct, and Acumatica examples. It is also available for SAP, Microsoft, Oracle, NetSuite type of ERP systems as well. So QDMS can talk to them to push and pull data, so you don't have to enter data twice. It talks to CRM systems, manufacturing execution systems, and IoT devices if there is a need. It's a web-based architecture. So to connect QDMS, you just need actually a web browser and internet access. So Sam showed earlier, my colleague, that's actually a cloud-based deployment of QDMS, and we basically connect it from different locations. We are not working from office right now. We connect from different locations, and we can access QDMS whenever we like, anywhere we are. Also, it has a modular structure. So in addition to business process modeling, action and performance management, if you'd like to have additional modules of QDMS, that's also available. For example, some of our customers, they also take control document management module as to document processes and policies for employees to follow for performance management purposes, as well as for compliance. Risk management is very important. Some of the tasks that you are assigning may be low risk assignments, low risk tasks, so that's fine. Some of them may be high risk assignments. So in that case, you may need additional precautions. You may need a specialist next to you to perform the task. You may need additional equipment or personal protective equipment, perhaps. So risk assessment is also very, very important. But these modular structure gives you the options to get what you need. That's a flexible that we are offering. QDMS works on cloud, on-premise servers. It works on your laptop. It works on your desktop, as well as your mobile device, your smartphone, as well as your tablet. Okay, great. So let's talk about questions that we have been receiving. I've been receiving some questions, and we like to address them. So one of the questions that I receive is about mobile applications. To perform the tasks and to document it, are we able to use any mobile device? Sam, would you like to address this question? Oh, he may be muted. Okay, allow me to unmute him.
Okay. Hello,
okay.
Kevin?
Now we can hear you. Yes, perfect. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Yes, that's a good question. So mobile application is available for Android and iOS device. So you can download QDMS and connect remotely from your handheld device like your tablet or smartphone. So you will see the same data set that you can find in the web browser, since they are going to and coming from the same database. And in short, you can connect anytime and anywhere from your handheld device with the internet connection. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, I appreciate it. Another question that I have is about notifications and reminders. Are there any notifications and reminders available on QDMS when performing any task?
Oh, yes. You will receive a notification. For example, on your handheld device, let me take this as an example. you will see a notification pop up on your handheld device, on your smartphone, as long as you permit or you grant the permission to QDMS to sending the notification. Also, regarding the notification, you will receive one from QDMS to your email inbox. So we have two-way notification in order to make sure you will not miss any notice from QDMS.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much. Alex, it looks like this question is for you. I'll also ask you to unmute yourself at the same time.
Okay.
Okay, great. So from ISO point of view, what are the major challenges in terms of performance management that you have been seeing in the marketplace?
Well, I think one issue is the fact that when the organization decides to adopt a system, a performance management system, that number one, management has to be committed to make sure that all the employees understand what it is and they follow it. And also the fact that the employees have to accept it in a way that they understand the purpose of it. A buy-in is a very important part of buy-in from the employees is a very important part of any system to succeed. They have to understand the purpose of it and also the role that they're playing, so that it's really not a very good way is to force it down their throat and say, okay, this is what it is. It has to be explained. And I think once they understand how it works, and then they see the advantages and the benefits they see the results, because the whole system becomes much more efficient. And once you have your processes are now integrated properly, data is collected, and the whole system starts to work very efficiently, then the morale improves of the entire staff. But again, like I said, this is something that management leadership has to be aware of. They have to understand and work it and make sure that the whole system is being utilized, okay? And obviously it may have some issues, some problems, but that's the whole purpose, is to make improvements. So I think that's the hardest part, is to make sure that this whole process is understood by the entire organization.
Thank you, Alex. Yes, that's very, very important. Not only from the compliance point of view, also from the management point of view, just like you mentioned, the morale of the company, the performance, right? So that is critical. So one of the things, if you notice, Sam showed in the beginning of his demonstration was actually intelligent business process modeling. So when you're actually designing your business processes, you can define it as for risks. You know, is it a high risk assignment process, or it's a low risk process, for example? And you also can actually attach the documentation as for instruction, procedure, maybe also a checklist. Perhaps one needs to do follow up. So that is actually very helpful as to manage it digitally, which is very critical. I see one more question in the chat box. So the question is, what is the minimum number of modules that we can have of QDMS? Is there any mandatory modules? Okay, I think I understand the question. So I just showed the list of modules of QDMS for performance management, document management, modeling, and so on. So there are 30 plus modules of QDMS. I didn't list all of them. I just listed some of them, actually. So as for your question, there is no minimum requirement. You can have one module, you can have a couple of modules. That's really up to you. Some of our customers get a set of them, and then use them and add more modules later on, or just keep what they have. Some of them, they start with a couple of them and add more modules. So it depends on your choice. So for us, our priority is to be able to help you adopt digital transformation. And today we talk about performance management. So if we can help you manage your performance management activities digitally with no need of paper and remotely, that is our goal, basically. So we can reach our goal, and we'll be happy to do it for you. I think I addressed all the questions in the chat box. I'll double check. Yes. So as to another question that I got earlier in the chat box. So as for instructing the employee for a task, for example, step by step, we'll be having a separate executive webinar next week. We will talk about workflow management. So that'll be basically addressing the workflow as to how you are going to take steps, what steps that you'll take to complete a task. There may be a maintenance task, there may be an audit task, there may be a sales process, or you're in marketing department, that may be a concept development test, right? Maybe that's a new product development, for example. So whatever that may be, you need to take steps to make it happen. Just like Alex mentioned earlier, every good company needs to have processes for each department. So however is your process, you can take those processes step by step, and you can manage it digitally. You can follow up and monitor digitally. So we basically address it with our workflow engine called EBA. We'll be talking about it next week, and we can also show you how it runs and how you can actually enjoy the benefits of it. As I mentioned earlier, you can see our contact information on the screen. And if you like to contact us, if you like to schedule a special meeting, if you like to talk further about the subjects, we welcome it. Please feel free to send us an email and we'll schedule time. Before we end our webinar, I'd like to let you know that we have a new product called a Synergy Content Services Platform for business process automation. That's a cloud native product of ours that's coming up live soon. So that is something new that I'd like to share with you, and I'll be sharing more information with you in coming weeks. That is a state-of-the-art technology. It's total cloud, and you can use it remotely, especially due to COVID-19. Many businesses, they have hard time running their operations remotely. So Synergy also has workflow engine capabilities, and we'll be talking about it also in coming weeks. And it's just it's something new that I'd like to share with you. Also, some of you, I know, you are watching us from YouTube Live, which we much appreciated. Thank you very much. And those of you who haven't subscribed our YouTube channel yet, we invite you to subscribe our YouTube channel. We have a very active YouTube channel. We keep posting our videos as well as webinars. Webinar recordings are available on our YouTube channel. You can watch, you can share with your team members, you can use it as a resource, because we have a lot of educational webinars as well, and recordings available on YouTube channel. So we are inviting you to our YouTube channel to subscribe. And finally, we have an Eventbrite page. As you may know, we have weekly executive webinars available on our Eventbrite page. You can see our webinar lineup, and you can choose any of them that you like, and you can register for our coming webinar sessions. We talk about risk management, quality management, asset management, maintenance management, digital transformation, as well as business process automation, paperless office, and many other modern subjects, especially in the face of COVID-19. These are very popular and very relevant subjects to talk about, and we'll address those and more to come. Okay, great. I'd like to thank you for your time and thank you for your interest. We are looking forward to seeing you in our coming webinar session. Thank you very much and have a nice day.